Hello, welcome and thank you for joining. Welcome to the Strategy Remix with your host Sammar Farooqi, an established tech industry executive with over 20 years global experience and a well-followed LinkedIn content creator. A quick reminder, this is live social audio. So, if you want to ask a question or share a point of view, please use the raise hand button so we can promote you to the stage. Sammar, let's get started without further delay. 3, 2, 1, and we are live. Sammar, over to you.
Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining the Strategy Remix on our special session today on tech and innovation in KSA. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Just give a thumbs up via the react button, just so I can confirm that the audio is working. Any issues throughout? There's no live chat here, but just give us a thumbs up throughout just to confirm that you can hear us all right. So, got an exciting agenda for you today with a fantastic panel representing some of the best leadership in KSA in technology and innovation. And be delighted to ask my panel to introduce themselves. Starting with my colleague, Mashur. Mashur, would you like to introduce yourself? Just give us a quick background in terms of how you got into the technology industry and your current role.
Thank you, Sammar. So my name is Mashur Bdawi. I'm an industry advisor for the consumer products industry here in the region. I got into technology a long time ago. I don't want to say how long, but I basically started off as a computer science graduate and then worked my way up from there into this specific industry and technology related to this industry.
Oh, fantastic. And Awad, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. My name is Waad Ghandoura. I'm an industry account executive at SAP. I'm handling mostly the consumer and services accounts.
Awesome, thank you. And what was your journey into technology in terms of your background and how you ended up working for a major global technology company?
So I've always been tech guru, and I started coding since I was around 12. Then I decided to graduate with computer science and information technology. Then I started my career starting from EMC, going to HPE, then Oracle, then now at SAP.
Thank you for that. And our special guest, Yusuf. Yusuf, great to have you with us representing the industry inside Saudi Arabia. Yusuf, would you like to introduce yourself to our guests and the panel?
Thank you, Sammar. How are you, Mashur and Wad? Nice to meet you again. How are you, everyone? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
How are you? Everything is okay, alhamdulillah. So this is Yusuf Bayoumi, one of the leaders of technology sector with a lot of technology platforms, almost like SAP and other products. So I have more than 20-year plus experience for a lot of industries actually across the MENA region.
Excellent. And would you like to just give a quick introduction to your current role in organization and how you're leading technology there?
Yeah. Actually, right now I'm IT director of Shaker Group, one of the leader of LG products across the Saudi Arabia for last 40 plus years.
Wow. So this is like the intersection of technology, business, consumer industries, actually delivering projects and programs to make the organization grow, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, great. So let's get started then on the discussion, and a quick reminder to the audience, this is interactive. Look out or listen out for the announcement from Natalie, our AI announcer shortly. But let's get started on the agenda. So we've got 3 main topics to cover, and then as we go, we'll deep dive into each of those. So the first topic I'd like to discuss with all of you is technology and innovation in the kingdom itself. So I'd like to start with Wad. Starting from the very earliest perspective you had, and you said you started early on, coding and experiencing technology in the country. How have you seen your professional career evolve as the sense of speed and urgency has grown around technology in the kingdom?
So for me, it's actually a really good question. Thank you. For me, and I see technology in general. It's basically the core of everything. You will see it in our business, day-to-day business, and you also see it in our private lives. So nowadays, technology changes everything. The way we communicate, the way we share information. We have now a mobile first business environments. It's the age of tablets. So the urgency and the need for sure increased in the last few years, especially after COVID. And now you can see and you can feel the urge from business, for example, you to utilize their raw data, utilizing their big data, and leverage whatever disruptive tech that the vendors are offering in general. So for sure, I see that the urge and the need increased. And honestly, nowadays, as I said, tech is the core of everything. Yeah, this is the way I see it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, we've all seen that acceleration happen. I grew
Yeah,
up in the UK and I've been in the region for 10 years now. And we saw that acceleration perhaps earlier in other parts of the world. But here, I think now it's moving at exponential speed. Right? This is what's
I
really
agree.
exciting about
Yeah,
the region and in Saudi in particular. We've seen that acceleration really, really take off.
yeah.
So leading on from that, Mashur, you mentioned, you have expertise in consumer industries, and for full disclosure, obviously we're colleagues who work together on that topic. But where are you seeing companies taking practical steps to take advantage of this acceleration or availability in technology and data that Wad was talking about?
Thanks, Sammar. Well, I mean, technology in consumer products cannot be a means to an end, right? As you know, so there has to be a purpose. And more and more now we see organizations in the consumer product space using technology to improve their top line by increasing business agility or business model agility. They're using it to improve their bottom line by trying to build a resilient and, let's say, responsible operating model. And they're also trying to improve the green line, which is becoming more and more prominent by ensuring that they grow sustainably using technology. So these are the three priorities that organizations in consumer products are focusing on when it comes to technology. In terms of the outcomes of adopting technology in these three areas, there would be a huge improvement in consumer experiences, so the end customer of these value chains that consumer products companies embody. Valuable outcomes will definitely be delivered if they focus more and more on sustainability. There'll be more collaboration as opposed to competition when using technology, specifically business networks or networking technology, to improve the ecosystem and collaboration among companies in this space. And also operational responsiveness would obviously improve as you would have more resilient supply chain due to a technology which will enable you to react quickly to global changes, as we have seen recently, whether it's pandemics or disruptions in supply chain or different shortages of certain products globally. So yeah, so bottom line, technology is always intertwined with business priorities, and these are the priorities that consumer product companies are focusing on nowadays.
Thank you. Yusuf, from your perspective as the IT director of a major Saudi firm and being on the buy side of IT, how are you seeing the capability and opportunity evolving from your IT suppliers and partners? Yusuf, would you like to unmute?
Yeah. Thank you, Sammar, for your question. Regarding what I have seen during last 2 years, actually, inside of the kingdom, like Mrs. Wad said, actually, the technology, it's become over everything. We, especially for the daily life, day-to-day life, for the business, from the business perspective, actually, I have seen that the kingdom actually take an approach to implement. I believe that is some solution. It is we heard about, and there's some technology that we still didn't see it anywhere in the world. Especially like Mr. The guy that I love it much more than anyone that I have followed right now, which is Mr. Abdullah bin Amir. He's talking lately about the new technology to connect the internet across the land with the earth, which is something called NTN, which is the latest technology, even if after 5G. So I believe that the kingdom, with their vision, it's become faster more than the people, even if from the business thinking about. So I believe, and I recommend for the companies itself, that they have to work very hard on a daily basis to align with this vision, because I believe that the government, it's going very fast than anyone ever. So I have seen during also the last 5 months or 6 months that there is some companies actually aligned with their vision, and that there is a lot of companies need to interact with their vision. So this is what I have seen actually last few months.
Yeah, I think that's very true in terms of the vision 2030, and there's recently has been reinforced at LEAP as well, which is our next topic. Just before we get into that, a quick announcement from the producer, Natalie.
Hello, I am Natalie, the producer, and this is the Strategy Remix Live with Sammar Farooqi. Great to have you with us. Remember, to ask a question or make a comment, please press the raise hand button, and we will promote you to the virtual stage. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah, so a quick reminder to the audience, if you want to participate, have an observation, question, comment, please do use the raise hand button, and we'll be delighted to hear from you. So, as Yusuf was talking about, the vision is extremely important, and this is in the title of this topic today, right? From vision to reality. So let's talk about vision then. And we were all at LEAP a few weeks back, which was the major Saudi technology conference, where vendors, suppliers, partners came from all over the world and locally to showcase some of the greatest innovations that are happening, some that are available now and some in the very near future. So Yusuf, back to you just to talk about your experience at LEAP. What really stood out to you in terms of what you're able to perceive, and we'll come on to what SAP was able to show you in a minute. But what really stood out to you from LEAP in terms of the content, the energy, and the sense of purpose?
Thank you so much for your question again. Regarding for me, that is, I have attended over 1,000 of events for the technology across the region actually last 20 years. Especially the ICT in Egypt, GITEX in Dubai many times. But what I found here actually in Saudi Arabia, by the way, this is first time for me in the LEAP. I didn't attend last year, but I found that it is most important event for the technology should be followed and attended by all people. From me, and it's a recommendation for everyone, and instead of any event ever across the MENA, it was sorted 100%. The people there, it's amazing for the contribution, for the supporting the companies there that is coming from overall the world. I was not imagine that all of these technology providers across the world will attend this event. And also from our perspective for the consumer product, we found we were searching actually about specific solutions. We found it in Leap by SAP, and we decided to actually sign our roadmap with SAP in this event. So it was amazing for us. Actually, it's the starting point of the new roadmap of our company.
No, that's awesome. It's a great example of collaboration there. So Wad, I want to get your perspective now, and that you're working with Yusuf and others in terms of orchestrating and building these sorts of partnerships. So would you like to share in terms of, in the context of KSA, how you've gone about that? What are the touch points that partners are looking to see from us as technology vendors, and how you're engaging with that?
So nowadays, especially as you mentioned with Vision 2030, there are a huge demand. So and the client or the business became more mature. So when it comes to discussion with the clients or with our ecosystem, there are a few highlights that always pops in the conversation. For example, when it comes to IoT and smart cities, smart everything, especially with the whole NEOM project, which is going to be one of the biggest smart cities in the world. When it comes to disruptive tech and augmented realities as well, there are some points that are becoming a priority for the client or for the business. And one of the examples, the sustainability and reducing the carbon footprint as well. Also, when it comes to the automating the overall process, I'm going to take the consumer and services industry as an example. So when the conversation starts, whether it's with the business or with some of our ecosystem as a vendors, the discussion is more of how to automate the end-to-end process from beginning with the manufacturing and the plant management to the point of sales itself, until even the post sales, which is the maintenance and the post sales activities. So mostly nowadays, the business is focusing on automating their end-to-end process, leveraging their big data to enhance, let's say, their benchmark within their industry and across or compared to their competitors. Also leveraging IoT and also focusing on the sustainability, especially nowadays in the consumer business. You will see a huge focus on the sustainability and reducing the carbon footprint, because it's part of the 2030 vision. So I believe, based on my experience or based on what I saw, those are the highlights of each and every discussion. Also, we seek, of course, the support of our ecosystem in order to build an end-to-end plan with our clients. So you will find, as Mashhoor said, huge collaboration between vendor rather than the competition, which for us is amazing, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to make our clients' life easier, and also participate in delivering the whole Vision 2030 in Saudi. So hopefully, at the end of the day, this kind of collaboration and this kind of contribution for our clients or with our partners and our ecosystem will actually do an impact, inshallah, in Saudi.
I think you've covered that very, very well. If you think about all the touch points you talked about there in terms of the ecosystem, the partners, working across companies and collaborating in the country, how do you see what the infrastructure that has evolved over the last 3 to 4 years? Because really I want to highlight to our audience how much of a dynamic change has happened in 3 to 4 years.
You mean infrastructure from a technical point of view, or
Yes.
when it
Yes.
comes? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as I mentioned, the client is becoming more mature, and infrastructure, their point of view of infrastructure has changed big time. So nowadays, the client would rather focus more on the process and enhancing the process rather than focusing on maintaining and keeping and working, or let's say taking a huge time of focusing on their infrastructure. So you will find most of the clients going for more of cloud-based solution or cloud-based process rather than having let's say the old school or the old idea of infrastructure. This is why I highlighted our ecosystem, because even for us as vendor or any other vendor, you will need also your ecosystem to handle or to focus on the infrastructure, and for other vendors or for us as SAP to focus more on the process and helping our clients to enhance their end-to-end daily activities, and also supporting them to achieve their KPIs or their strategy from now to, let's say, 5-10 years from now. So the overall, I believe, idea or perspective of infrastructure nowadays for sure has changed.
Yes, exactly. I think this is what I was trying to reach for. I mean, so I've been in the region for 10 years, and I remember how it used to be, old school, as you described it. So, Yusuf, from your perspective then, as Wad has laid out, the importance of cloud-based process, innovating at speed, and delivering. And we spoke about this at LEAP when we met in person. So would you like just to share your perspective on that, on the speed of execution and working with the cloud, and why that's important to an organization such as yours?
Okay, so I will just go back for a little bit note about the what Wad said regarding the infrastructure itself. Then I will elaborate on that. So regarding the infrastructure, I believe that Saudi Arabia, what they are doing right now, from the infrastructure perspective, actually they are going to implement a significant change actually across the standard model of connectivity, especially the internet. So I believe there is something very interesting, especially what they are doing right now from the infrastructure perspective, over the to link the local internet, which is, we call it ground internet, with the space internet like SpaceX. So I believe there's something very interesting upcoming during the roadmap actually until 2030. So it will become a huge innovation for the connectivity overall the world. I believe in that. I believe in Saudi Arabia. They did a prototype at the first of 2020, middle of 2022. So I believe that is the prototype. It will be ready, I think, by end of this year, as per what I have heard about. So regarding what we are talking about, which is the related to the cloud enablement technology. So one of the major also topics for the Saudi Arabia vision, which is the hosting of most hyperscaler in the world inside of the kingdom. It's a very important thing, which is what will be linking actually with all the data centers across the world. So Saudi Arabia, I believe it will become the hub of hyperscaler during this upcoming 5 years or less. So this is part of the infrastructure of the servers and databases or the applications itself, whatever it is, even if ERPs, collaboration, communication tools. So it will become hosted here. So it will be very useful and very secured from standard of infrastructure ITIL perspective. So, and for the companies itself, the cloud technology actually, it's very useful to from a costing perspective for sure, and for the best practice modeling, it will become a very easy of change the normal of software implementations or hardware hosting, whatever it is. So I believe this is the fast and very cost-effective way to utilize it for any innovation for any company inside of Saudi Arabia or even if in the region itself.
Thank you for that comprehensive overview. So Mashur, reflecting on that, as both Wad and Yusuf talked about, specifically when you unpack the processes, so you have the infrastructure coming in place, you have the cloud capability coming in place, and you talked about the specific processes in consumer industries. So where do you see the greatest opportunity to drive this innovation through in the Saudi context?
Thanks, Sammar. So again, the opportunities, I believe there will always be case by case for each and every organization. So it's important to highlight the vision of the organization in order for it to initialize transformation in any area, especially related to cloud. And then after aligning on the vision with the leadership, there needs to be a clear-cut value case built. And usually in cloud environment, the opportunity is mostly in terms of converting capital expenditures into operating expenditures when it comes to the bottom line. And that can free up cash to be invested elsewhere, especially at the core of each business. And with that, organizations can plan the path forward and eventually deliver impactful business value, regardless of the area they're tackling.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the key story for all of us, right? Delivering business value. All the purpose of this innovation is to deliver the value which ultimately helps achieve the objectives of the company, achieve sustainability and benefit stakeholders, employees, and the nation as a whole. We had a question from Mr. Agarwal. You raised your hand. Would you like to speak?
Yeah, hello dear panel and all the listeners. So apart from you discussed about cloud computing and stuff, right? That's a very good concept, and all the phones and all the softwares, everything should be in a cloud so that it's easier to communicate data. Like you don't need hard disk to store data. But I wanted to talk on something different. Like I live in India. Here, like 3-4 years ago, we were using cash as a mode of payment. So it was a cash-based economy. But what we did is we turned into digitalization, and some developers created some apps like Paytm, PhonePe, and now it's a cashless economy. Though there's cash, but it's like Bitcoin, but it's not Bitcoin, it's real money. So when I go to a shop, I can transfer money directly from my bank account to there just using a scanner. So I think this is one thing which I don't know if Dubai is using this or not, but this is one thing that can be used you know, it's using innovation and technology to further develop the country.
May I can elaborate on that, please, Sammar?
Yeah, please, Yusuf, yes. Sorry, it's a bit noisy, but thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you for the elaborating actually for this question. Regarding the cashless based actually or payment method like Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, other cryptocurrency, what we have to talk about actually, which is the cashless based actually payment method. It's a very important, and we are believing the technology sector actually it is the upcoming new economy. So, but actually, as per the regulatory, actually, that is the cryptocurrency is not accepted in Saudi Arabia or even so far, yani. So, what we have to talk about actually, which is the blockchain technology, how we can use that, and what we are planning to for the upcoming, especially 7 years, which is the blockchain technology and the cryptocurrency will become the prototype. It will be completed. So from the business perspective, actually, that is, we are taking the blockchain as the new roadmap of launching the digital stocks instead of normal stocks like IPO. So the new generation of the stocks, actually, it will become a digital, which is ICOs, initial coin offering. So it will become the new life of the new roadmap of any company that they would like to list their stocks actually instead of physical stocks or normal stocks to become a digital stock. So for sure, the blockchain technology it's very important for the upcoming 7 years, but it is from normal business process, which should be controlled by the government, not anything else.
Right, thank you, Yusuf. Yes, I think there's a whole separate spin-off topic on the appropriate use and the government approaches being taken in the UAE, Saudi, and in other countries across the region in terms of blockchain and cashless payments. I would just say that living in Dubai as I do, cashless payment has now become the norm, and there are several platforms available, but they're standard global platforms. In terms of payment via blockchain or Bitcoin, those are on a case-by-case basis, but I think that's probably a separate spin-off topic. So just before we move on, a quick reminder from the producer.
You are listening to the Strategy Remix. If you have a question or comment, please raise your hand and we will get you on the live audio. Thank you.
All right, so if anyone else has a question, comment, observation to share with the panel, please do raise your hand. We'll be delighted to have you join us. Okay, so looking at the next stage of our discussion, we've talked about LEAP and the great energy that was there and how organizations are responding to that. If I now move on to the next stage, back to you, Wad. We talked about Vision 2030 and the sense of energy and purpose around that. You know, as a leader in technology in the industry in Saudi, what does Vision 2030 mean to you in terms of driving your specific specialism forward?
So for me, for us or for us as Saudis, Vision 2030 is basically achieving that what we thought before is impossible. Now everything is possible. As His Royal Highness said, the sky is the limit. So for me, I take this very seriously, even with my day-to-day interaction with my clients. So when it comes to implementing and having impact on the way we deliver Vision 2030 in all aspects, not only tech, even in delivering the best value for our clients, I take it very seriously. So when it comes, as I mentioned, to the day-to-day interaction with the client, basically what I try to do is, rather than selling as sales, I make sure that to address all of the pain points of the client and also deliver the best value for the client. It's not only about closing deal or closing target or getting the target. It's more about how us as Saudi can actually have an impact on this vision, and how can we help to support it and to deliver it. So I believe nowadays, not only me, I believe most of Saudis, they take this vision as a way to deliver our best to our clients and in our day-to-day business. Also, as a vendor, SAP make sure that we address all of the client pain points, and also link their vision to whatever the country has vision for. So for sure, it impacted the way we see business and the way we deliver business.
A very articulately put, well, very, very thorough explanation there. I think I had a question from Fayaz. Fayaz, I'm trying to promote you to the stage. I don't know if you want to raise your hand again, but it's not quite going through. I'll keep trying. But just while waiting for that, if anyone else wants to ask a question, please do raise your hand. Mashur, back to you. One important aspect of this, as Awad described, the execution of the Vision 2030. One important aspect of that is working and enabling youth to take advantage of this new vision and be in a position to learn and execute technology opportunities. So what have you seen working in the technology sector of this evolution of the opportunity for younger people to be able to participate?
Thanks, Sammar. Great question. So, yeah, youth is definitely one aspect. We have a rapidly changing demographic. The region or the country is becoming more and more younger by the day. There is a statistics that says I think almost 70 or 50% of the population is below the age of 30. So with this change in demographic, organizations, especially in the consumer product space, have to focus on transforming. And transforming means not improving on what's currently being done, but actually becoming fundamentally different in the way they operate. As an example, instead of focusing on scalability or increasing the number of touch points or branches, we focus on speed of our value chain. Instead of focusing on certain transactions and touch points, we should be focusing more on journeys, entire journeys. And instead of focusing on certain activities, we focus on experiences as opposed to an activity or transaction. Another example is to focus on outcomes as opposed to focusing on just products. So what value is the consumer getting out of the products that are being sold or manufactured? And also, instead of focusing on a vertical or singular industry, organizations should be focusing on ecosystem. To summarize, this is basically, instead of focusing on efficiency and predictability as classically was done in the past, organizations should be focusing on being more agile and resilient in the future. And this all relates back to youth and how things are changing as the organization becomes more and more younger and behaviors of consumers change accordingly.
Yes, I think that all makes excellent sense. Why don't I just go back to you for a second? If you look, what SAP has been doing in KSA in particular, with the Young Talent Program and some of the great colleagues you're working with, how have you seen this evolve and getting opportunity out there to younger Saudis to be able to participate?
Yeah, actually, it's a great question. So when I started my career, I started some of the answer I received whenever I apply for an account executive or a sales position, they would tell me that not only I'm too junior to have such roles, but also as a female I cannot be a field sales. So يعني looking back at what I faced and seeing how SAP and also multiple vendors are addressing the Saudi youth and the youth in general, it amazes me. So I can see that they are not only enabled, and we have the overall training and onboarding, but also they get involved from day one in an active deals, active opportunities. I'm so proud to see them even attending client meetings and participating in the discussion, not only the technical discussion, also discussion with the business. So for sure, SAP and also lots of other vendors are more and more enabling our youth to be engaged within the industry.
Very true, and I've personally witnessed that. Fayaz, sorry, I'm unable to promote you for some reason, some technical issue. If you'd like to ask your question in the chat, I can try and add that. Yusuf, do you have a comment before we go to Shweta?
Actually, just to align with what Wad said, actually regarding the individual, actually how SAP actually can help the people here in Saudi Arabia. I believe that SAP has a very good program for especially for the individuals, which is called YPP, which is Young Professional Program. It will be very useful actually for the people that they are interested to become a professional in SAP, even if in Saudi Arabia or worldwide. This is what I have to do, what I have to say.
Absolutely. Shweta, great to have you. Would you like to unmute? Nope. I lost you there. Okay. So the YPP program, I think, is a great example and a standout of what SAP is doing and other vendors are doing as well in the region. And I think just to share with everyone here the sense of purpose, energy, youth, passion that I experience every time I go to the office in Riyadh, it really is empowering. It's great to see the sense of energy out there. Shweta, would you like to speak? Just need to unmute. Shweta, wait for you to unmute. In the meantime, we have Mohammed as well. Mohammed, let me promote you up.
Hi, Sammar. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
Shweta. Hello.
Hi. I don't know. There was
Welcome.
an issue with me clicking the button. Thank you.
Not at
Thank
all.
you. I just wanted to, in fact, add to what Wad was saying. And I do work with several technology companies as their public relations. And there are so many different campaigns that we are running when it comes to promoting the youth and tackling the challenges of creating smart, sustainable solutions for future cities with hands-on experiences, weeks and weeks of trainings, whether it's IoT or whether it's any other solutions, and students coming up with worthwhile, sustainable uh, solutions in line with UN goals. I mean, it's been absolutely tremendous to see the type of solutions these students are coming out with. And then further on, getting the support from the governments and the ministry and the municipalities and drive those solutions forward and use cases forward is absolutely phenomenal.
So with this, do you have a specific story or insight you'd like to share in terms of how you've actually seen that? You mentioned the UN sustainability goals, and that's very important. How have you seen that actually tangibly take life?
So yeah, there was a recent project, and this I'm talking about particularly for Dubai, for Future Disruptors program, where students came up with a sustainable food distribution program, and they sort of are in fact still trying to work with the municipality to see how they can actually bring this to life. So the fridges and all that are there, these, you have these community fridges, but they're trying to take it a step further to see how these fridges can be made safe through their program that they're launching, or they're planning to launch rather. So it is use cases of these type, which are sustainability led and also in line with building future cities. This is just one example that I'm stating, but there are tons and tons of such examples that we've been working with university students, and I think the outcome has been absolutely great.
Yeah, no, excellent. A great example there of actually a collaboration, working with technology companies to make it happen. Mohammed, great to have you. Good to see you. If you'd like to unmute.
Thank you, Sammar. I'm very glad to be here, guys, and just listen to your great insights. Maybe have a question and comment. And I think part of what I have seen is happening greatly here in Saudi Arabia is the startups ecosystem. Talk about fintech in particular and how much the fintechs and the startups are really, fueling the kind of innovation, as well as a big part of it is working towards the vision 2030. So I think this is part of what, maybe I would also love to hear the comments from Waad, Mashhoor, and Yusuf around this one, and how is the startups or the fintechs or the new innovators here in the kingdom are helping to achieve this vision, of 2030, and, enhance the economy. And I think even there is some study by BWC that, I think AI machine learning, there will be allowing like, a big amount of billion of dollars will be coming to Saudi Arabia by 2030 from AI and machine learning. This another thing. So that would love to hear also from the speakers here. Thank you.
Yeah, no, great. Over to Mashhoor, how would you respond to that? So innovation, fintech, and taking advantage of the evolving fintech environment.
Yes, yeah, I agree with Mohammed. It's currently a very vibrant environment here in KSA. It's becoming easier and easier to do or start a business day by day, with the help of the vision 2030 and the guidance provided there. There are multiple facilities also that can be used, such as venture capitals that are becoming more and more prevalent here in the region, which they were not before. And there's also multiple funds and subsidies that are available in multiple industries by the government to aid in startups. So yeah, I pretty much agree with Mohammed there.
Mm-hmm. Waad, from your perspective, I think it'd be great to get the feel for the ecosystem. So we have startups. I know that at Leap, we were talking about some of the unicorns that SAP is also helping to support. So how are you seeing that ecosystem evolving of startups and innovators working together with larger technology companies to take advantage of things like fintech?
When it comes to our ecosystem, I believe it's becoming more agile. Even the partnership between SAP and some of, let's say, the new startup companies is amazing. Also, not as ecosystem, you will find, for example, third-party solution or third-party vendors that came up with industry-specific solution, and you will find SAP collaborating with them in order to deliver the best solution to our business or our clients. So I see it's more agile, as Mashhoor mentioned, and also as Mohammed mentioned. There is a huge focus when it comes nowadays on fintech and also, let's say, on digital payments. Also, as Mohammed mentioned, on IoT, and I believe nowadays SAP or multiple vendors are becoming more agile to introduce those partners or those startups to our to become part of our ecosystem.
Yes, that's very true. Yusuf, any perspective from yourself in terms of the ecosystem and taking advantage of fintech?
It is okay. Everything is covered by our colleagues here. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. I think we have another comment. Aisha, welcome. Would you like to unmute?
Hi. Yeah. So, my opinion is that digitization is no longer something that's considered new, right? It's an expectation that customers have from you, especially in the retail industry, especially from the younger generation. So, the question that I have is, how do you differentiate yourself as a brand and contextualize solutions that you're creating and innovating to cater to the needs of your region or user base when there's already a competitive landscape where people aren't necessarily as connected as they used to be, and digitization is just a basic need at this point?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I think I could provide a dissertation on that. I would say broadly that large technology firms such as the one that we happen to work for, Wad and Mashur and myself, have brought a global sensibility and helped localize that through setting up local organizations, hiring locally, and developing specific use cases and understanding of the specific cultural requirements. So whilst, yes, absolutely, digitization, technology, supply chain, innovation, there are constants in all of these, but the actual adoption, execution, and consumption is often determined by the local culture, local requirements, and the diversity within that. So for example, I live in the UAE, where there's a majority expatriate population, and within that, how data is used, consumed, generated, the types of retail or consumer products offerings also vary, which are quite distinct than in other countries inside the GCC. However, the need for a standard scalable core, the need for standard processes, the need for cybersecurity, the need for rapid deployment, digital first scenarios, etc., are all equal. But then managing the interface between technology and execution is absolutely key. And this is where the ecosystem comes in. So technology partners working together, working with implementing companies and startups locally to ensure that what is acquired is consumed, meets the needs of the local culture is very important. To give you a very brief example, and sorry, this is my pet topic, so I'll be more than happy to give a dissertation on this. I've worked with companies across the region, for example, to define end-to-end connected customer experience. So that means that, for example, connecting consumer products opportunities to retail opportunities, to entertainments, to cinemas, to shopping malls, to automotive. How do you link all the touch points? And in fact, what came out of those exercises is that in the region, it's quite unique because the experiences you have in Europe or North America, for example, are traditionally siloed. They operate on their own inside conglomerates, but here you have diversified conglomerates able to offer end-to-end experiences, which also creates a huge ocean of data that can be leveraged for the benefit of the customer. So there are unique cultural opportunities that come out of this. And so over time, I would say that you've seen this global go local approach to ensure that technology is available, executed, and takes advantage of local culture. Does that help?
Yeah, that does help. Thank you. It's just something that I also struggle with, and it's just a constant debate that I have in my mind when I work on products. So I just wanted to hear other people's opinions. But thank you so much for such a detailed answer.
That also you really tickle my interest there. Any other comment from the team just before we wrap up? No? Okay, so we've got another 2-3 minutes left. Anyone would like to ask a question, more than welcome, or we'll move to wrap up. Hussein, let me promote you up.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Summer. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Interesting discussion. I just have a question. I've heard you talk about the cashless payments and technology and the fintechs. There's a lot of fintechs that has actually emerged in Saudi Arabia as part of the support for the Vision 2030 and the Vision 2030. One of the pillars as well as part of the FSDB, the Financial Sector Development Program, is to turn into 70% of cashless transactions by 2025, which is a really ambitious as well goal that they have. On the other hand, as well, with the technology that we're talking about, the technology that would support the realization of the vision as well, we've seen the emerge of AI, we've seen the lots of talks about the metaverse as well. Neom with Autonomous are actually like trying to promote as well the metaverse, the rise of ChatGPT as well. So there's a lot of technologies that we have that could support the realization of the vision itself, but that would come by the utilization of this technology by the people. So my question here is about technology literacy. Now, the kingdom is massive. It's huge. We have so many regions and so many cities that might not be as literate as the other regions as well when it comes to the use of technology by the people. So how do you see technology companies like SAP as a giant in technology and other technology companies could support in building that education within the people and build that literacy to utilize the technology to make it a success as well and useful for them to use as much as the organizations are trying to promote that to support the vision?
Yeah, it's a very big question. We've got a few minutes left. I'd like to ask Mohammed to come back if you'd like to share your comment on the fintechs. You're the expert on that, Mohammed Rushdie. I would say generally, from a strategic perspective, as a technology practitioner, where we see the collaboration of technology companies, academia, government, for example, Hussein, we discussed when I was at LEAP with you, how the government is working together with SAP and vice versa, for example, to establish learning pathways, enable the new startups, identify unicorns, etc. There are formal pathways, but also the informality also matters a lot. The socialization of people working together, understanding that, yes, not just SAP, but many other companies as well, are creating a buzz, are investing, are localizing the knowledge, hiring locally, and ensuring that people have access to learning opportunities can make a huge, huge difference. And as you rightly say, KSA it's a large country, both physically and from a population perspective, and very diverse. And so ensuring there's equal access for every gender, for every type of technology specialism, this is a very, very exciting time, I think, and we're seeing the fruits of some of those investments starting to come to life. As we heard earlier, some of the impacts we've seen in the UAE, for example, and now in Saudi and in other countries as well. I think this sense of energy and sense of purpose becomes a key energizer. So what's really also satisfying to see, I think, and from my time with you at LEAP and taking a chance to walk around the floor there, is how much of the innovation is being led locally. So it's not just foreign companies or global companies coming in to flog kit, as we would say, just to sell product, but it's a collaboration and local leadership. So that vision to execution is also very key. It's not just bringing kit and trying to sell it and screw it together and get people up and running on technology. It's making sure that it's localized and led by local people for the benefit of the local citizens. That's my perspective. Anyone else would like to add a comment? Monsieur Youssef?
I'm okay. Thank you.
You just about covered it. I was going to say socialization and informal learning is the thing now. So yeah, you hit that point.
Okay. And just to wrap up, Mohammed, if you'd like to add your perspective on fintech, and then we'll look to close.
I think you summed it all. It's great, and what's very unique here in Saudi Arabia that most of the fintechs really is all local, and this is what the great thing when I see all the fintech ecosystem in Saudi. It's 148 now, I believe, fintechs. They are running on the ground. They licensed by SAMA, and most of the co-founder of these are Saudi young guys and girls, and they done great actually. So this is, I think, the ecosystem is here is very well developed. SAMA done great from the regulation point of view. Funding, as we discussed, also some of the colleagues here talk about it. So I think the ecosystem for fintechs, it will become, I would say, the best in the Middle East because of the regulation, the funding, as well as the local talent which we are having here, which is leading the fintechs. And you would really expect to see some unicorns happening here from Saudi Arabia in the fintech area. That's a quick sum up to what you said.
All right, perfect. I think we've reached end of time. So I think that's essentially it. Thank you, everyone, for joining the Strategy Remix. We've covered several topics today. I'm sure there's more that we can drill into. So I do hope to see you soon. And just a closing comment from our friend Clint. And I'd like to thank the panel for their contribution and insights and taking the time to participate in this forum. So Clint, take it away. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Strategy Remix with Sammar Farooqi. To our panel for taking the time to join, and to you for your kind participation. Look out for the recording of this session on LinkedIn and YouTube. If you would like to be a future panelist, have an idea for a topic, or any follow-up questions, please drop a LinkedIn DM to Sammar. Remember, you cannot predict the future, but you can help make it. Start today with the Strategy Remix. Don't forget to connect or follow Sammar. Thanks again, and see you soon. Goodbye for now.
All right, thank you, everyone. There'll be another Strategy Remix session coming up on the 8th of March on sustainability, which was also a key topic raised today, so look out for that. That's also International Women's Day. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you again to our panelists, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks. Thanks, Sammar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.